Hello. It's your boy Sushi and your girl
Ashley. And GERRYUARY continues today with our discussion of the perfectly named film, Plane, and a special Gerry contest, which I'll be torturing Sushi with. And then we'll continue to our discussion of non-Gerry movies, Night Patrol, and 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. And we'll also be discussing the non-Gerry show, Hijack.
And I guess Stars just didn't release a new episode of Spartacus House of Ashur this week. Stars, do you need monies? Another $1, perhaps? Anyway, let's get into it. This is We Should Pod That. Episode 21. We're legal.
Yay!
We should watch that with Ashley and Sushi. Feel the vibes, it's a night so lush.
Gather round, children. Scoot in close, because it's January, and that means that once again, it's time to hear the sacred winter tale of Gerard Butler doing what he does best.
Saving people.
Indeed. Welcome back to GERRYUARY, our annual celebration of grit, grumbling, and extreme capable chaos. This week, we're playing a fun little game and revisiting Plane, the movie where the weather is bad, the stakes are worse, and Gerry takes one look at the situation and goes, hell no. Sorry, hell no. So settle in, lower your expectations of authority figures, and remember the ancient January lesson. When everything goes wrong, there will always be one reluctant man, tough, grizzled, mildly annoyed, and ready to step forward and absolutely handle it. Let's go.
Go nice, grab a voice, grizzled grin, bad choices, everyman, climbing legendary, raise a glass, it's GERRYUARY.
Welcome, friends, to the GERRYUARY game, Gerry, fact or fan fiction. So the rules are, I will read a synopsis of a story involving Gerard Butler or one of his characters, and you have to guess if it's fact or a synopsis for a fan fiction.
Okay.
And just full disclosure, some of these are going to be easy. I just wanted to write them down. Okay. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Buckle up.
Okay.
Number 1, a former SWAT officer teams up with a badass major crimes detective in L.A. Together, they find their lives intertwined with a woman who could not only keep up with their lifestyle, but perhaps even become an active part in it. What do you say?
That's fanfic.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
Yeah, I would have seen that movie already if they made it.
Yeah, right? Okay, so that is 1 point. And now moving on to the next one. 17-year-old hothead Dean Winchester doesn't believe his dad when he's told that he's going to turn into a werewolf and has to go to live with a sexy older alpha of the Skycomish pack. And little does he know that an attempt to slip away undetected will result into him falling into the hands of the wrong alpha, an alpha that will force Dean to accept a fate he could never have imagined.
That sounds like fanfic.
Babe, you're right.
Yeah.
Guys, I looked up so much fan fiction. It's a lovely and a dark world, both. Moving on. Abby thinks love is rules and science and doing everything right. Mike thinks love is sex and instincts and saying the quiet part out loud. When they're forced to work together, everything Abby believes starts to fall apart.
I think that's a plot to a movie.
Damn it. You're right.
Which movie was that?
The Ugly Truth, where he's like a jerky guy.
Oh, okay.
Jerky.
Yeah, sounds
you know
like
how he's always a jerky guy in those rom-coms.
One of the earlier movies.
What if Eric wasn't really a ghost, but a real man who's been hiding in the shadows his whole life? What if she doesn't just fear him, but understood him, and instead of choosing safety, she chose the dark, brilliant, broken man who taught her to sing and want more?
Is that the plot to P.S. I Love You?
Is that your formal guess?
I suppose.
No,
It's fanfic.
no, it's the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, damn. Well, I totally forgot that you did that.
How could you forget?
I know. It's horrible. It's on my Mount Buttsmore.
Oh, Mount Buttsmore.
Check out our TikTok account if you want to see a
Oh, if
picture of
only
Mount
it was
Buttsmore.
real. So the next one, Gerard wants his own bitch. So he
Whoa. Whoa. Okay.
Gerard wants his own bitch. So he wants Hugh Jackman to be his. But
Whoa.
first, he has to break his will so he doesn't escape from him.
I mean, that's fanfic, but
It is.
somebody
I-
should definitely make that into a movie, I guess.
I just love some of the team ups people have here.
Yeah.
All right. So that's correct. Also, I do want to just jump back really quickly. That first fan fiction,
Mhm.
the first one was Jeremy Renner and him thruple.
Oh,
Story.
Ren Dog.
Yeah. The people they pair with him is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, number 6. 2 men are alone in a lighthouse, and it's very quiet, except for the ocean and their own thoughts, which won't stop. Everything feels uncomfortable and tense in a way that's hard to explain, like standing too close for too long. And as guilt and fear start piling up, the air between them feels heavy and wrong, and also strangely hard to look away from.
That sounds like the plot to The Lighthouse, but it's Gerard Butler fan fiction.
That is false. It's the movie The Vanishing.
Whoa. I need
Yeah.
to see this now.
Okay, next up. Athena Ashur is the daughter of the newly appointed president, Ben Ashur. How will she cope with the cocky and annoying Secret Service agent, Mike Banning, who's assigned to look after her?
Oh, that's a movie.
False. It is an
What?
Olympus Has Fallen fan fiction called
Oh my
Athena
God.
Ashur.
That's kind of a trick question, though.
Well, most of them are based on movies, so
Oh.
you're doing pretty well, though. Okay,
Oh.
next up, number 8. Clyde Shelton wants the system to suffer, so he puts himself in prison on purpose because that's the only way to control everyone who ever failed him.
That sounds like a plot to a movie.
That is true. It is Law-Abiding Citizen,
Yeah, Law Abiding Citizen. I
which was
remember
one
that
of the first times I got into good, bad movies. So
Yeah.
it holds a special place in my heart. All right. We're coming towards the end here, my friends. So we've got number 9. The man caught his mate's scent months ago, and now that he's found her, she can't smell him. Can he convince her to come off her suppressants long enough to gain back her ability to scent him properly? What happens when his alpha side demands that he claim his mate by forcing his body into a sudden rut before she is ready to accept him?
There's a lot of alpha talk in this quiz.
Yeah,
I would say that this is fanfic.
that is true. That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. During the filming of 300, vampires hide in plain sight. Jerry and Johnny Lee Miller's established bond is
Oh my
tested
God.
as long days on set give way to nights of blood, power, and possession. And David's presence as a human pet draws them into dangerous territory. Desire, hierarchy, and control collide behind the blue screens.
Okay. Well, this is dangerous territory.
Mhm.
Therefore, I would think that it would be fanfic.
Yep. You got it, babe. You got it. All right. Let me tally up. Guys, my algo is going to be real messed up for the things I've seen preparing for this. Okay. So we got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4, we got 5, we got 6, we got 7. Okay. Now there is a bonus question worth
Mhm.
3 points.
Okay.
Okay. Which of Jerry's films has the most fanfic tributes? A, 300. B, P.S. I Love You. C, Phantom of the Opera, or D, Dracula?
300.
False.
Whoa.
Phantom of the Opera.
I guess it's probably more,
Yeah.
well known.
There's like one author, I almost remember her name because I saw her so much researching this. She has like a pretty long series. And it's not just Phantom of the Opera. It's Phantom of the Opera with Gerard Butler as the Phantom.
Specifically.
Yeah. So guess what?
What?
That brings your total to 7 points. You need 6 to win. So congratulations.
Oh, awesome.
You
I
win this
finally
week's
won.
Jerry Challenge.
Yay.
You have the instincts of a seasoned fanfic reader and the survival skills to make it through Gerard Butler's entire filmography without confusing vampires, alphas, and morally compromised men.
Oh, well, thank you. I think it was just more, I just know the degree of absurdity that Jerry movies usually get to. And I know what's a little bit past that line. But the line is very fine.
It is. And to be fair, I just wanted to tell you all of these insane ideas for stories. So,
Okay.
But are you ready for your audio prize?
Yes, I am.
All right, cue it up. Let's hear it.
And he says, can I have a cucumber, please? I'm much better, though, when I'm being in the moment rather than telling my joke. And the greengrocer says, would you like that slice? And he goes, what do you think I have? A slot machine. I don't think I would make it as a stand-up comedian. It's not very funny. It's just that it was the way I said it. He loved the, what do you think I have? A slot machine? That's my cucumber joke.
Does it qualify as a joke?
and just
it is kind of the way that Gerard Butler just delivers things. I don't know. It's his accent, and I think like the energy behind it.
Yes, and that is a quote dirty joke that he told to get his role in The Ugly Truth.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so there you have it, and thus concludes Jerry. Fact or fan fiction? Guys, Plane is nuts and has the best movie name ever. Those are 2 things you need to know. Plane starts simple enough. Pilot Brodie Torrance, the most Scottish name you've ever heard. Okay. Is played by Gerard Butler, and he's sort of estranged from his daughter. He's flying a late night flight, but then he's notified that a prisoner named Luis Gaspar, played by Mike Coulter, will be on the flight. He's not crazy about it, but whatevs. Then he's told that the flight might hit some bad weather. Sure, they could navigate around it, but that would cost too much fuel. So he's instructed to head straight towards the storm because the money guy swears, hey, it's going to clear up. Then, guess what? Crash. Then guess what? The dude watching the prisoner dies. Then, hey, they land in an ungoverned island full of mercenaries and gangs. There are so many fun conflicts and obstacles that arise in this movie, but I think the best part by far is the unlikely team up of Butler's former RAF pilot and Coulter's mysterious and deadly prisoner.
Oh, hell yeah.
And guys, I love this movie. I love it. It's incredibly entertaining. The violence goes surprisingly hard. And sure, the setup is pretty improbable, but it's fun when things go nuts and Jerry's there to make a like, can you believe this kind of face? But yeah, it's a classic January Jerry film, and I hope they actually make the sequel proposed, which is called Ship and would star Mike Coulter. The rewatch was fantastic. I remember enjoying it in the theater, but the first thing I noticed is I love how this movie nails mundane details. Like at the beginning when he's on the plane and talking to the staff and whatever, he does it in such a grounded, normal way that it makes it hit even harder when shit goes wrong. And it goes very wrong. It's crazy. I don't know. What do you think, Sush?
Well, here's my notes on it.
Let's hear it.
What kind of name is Brodie Torrance?
I know.
A man that a grizzled ex-RAF pilot would have, for sure.
Sounds like a frat guy from Alabama or something.
Yeah. I caught one of the flight attendants wishing one of the passengers a happy new year.
Aw.
So I just wanted to say I had no idea this was a New Year's movie, but now that I do, I think I'll make this the one that I watch annually.
Oh, I'm so down.
Yeah. So the main thing that I thought was kind of funny about this movie is its self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
By that, I mean, sometimes it feels like the writer knew. Most people would assume this movie is just another by the numbers disaster action thriller. So they throw in some applicable movie tropes.
Yeah.
Sometimes just to make fun of the tropes, sometimes to build tension, but sometimes paying them off and sometimes not. So you don't really know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
I actually made a list.
Ooh.
First one is showing a pilot looking at a picture of their family and their co-pilot then commenting about how beautiful the family is. So,
Oh, yeah, that's classic.
Yeah, Jerry's co-pilot does that, and then Jerry just comments about how beautiful it looks. Next one, having a rude guy with resting asshole face who constantly complains, who I'd argue most people really wanted and expected to die, but ends up probably being more grateful than he's ever been
I know.
in his entire life by the end of the movie. Having one of the passengers use the crash landing opportunity to film a documentary.
Oh my God, that was funny.
The pilots discovering they landed on an island that has no police and is run by a militia.
Oh my God.
But luckily, they got tough guy Mike Coulter, who happens to act aggressively once Mr. Filmmaker approaches him. Jerry's staring at him like, yeah, that guy's going to help us out of this jam for sure. So it's like he was already seeing that this guy was going to be his best friend, kind of.
Plus, if there was ever a time for a murder, it's when you're on an ungoverned island.
Yeah, exactly. So the next one is Jerry's got to have a picture of his wife and daughter that he takes with him. And then you got to show the wife and daughter at home, wondering and realizing whether a reported plane that had an emergency landing was dad. Of course it is.
Of course.
Next one, not knowing whether or not to trust Mike Coulter's character. Sometimes he's angry and violent. Sometimes he's kind of nice and generous. Like when he gives Jerry water and assault rifle.
Yeah. Polite.
I thought that was funny. He gives him the water and he's like, here, drink it all.
Aw, sweet.
I'm like, wow, he just really cares about his hydration.
Ooh, they should do a fanfic about this one,
Yeah, for real. Next one, Jerry being a pilot that's being reprimanded for, quote, HR issues.
And
the ones that somehow coming handy for this particular disaster they're being faced with. Next, you see Jerry and Mike Coulter rushing back to the passengers in a truck, and the passengers hear people approaching, but it's not them. It's the rebels.
No, love it.
Not being able to get a full rescue team out to them in a reasonable amount of time to avoid having to potentially deal with the rebels.
Classic.
And then my favorite one, I think, I still have more, but this was my favorite one because both of the guys did it, so it wasn't like a one-off. There's a dialogue exchange that goes, that's your plan? And then the other guy goes, you have a better one? So the first instance of this happening is where Jerry starts off the exchange when they sneak onto the rebels' base. And Mike Coulter says they have to rescue everyone quietly and then no guns until we have to. And Jerry's just like, that's your plan? And then Mike Coulter actually does it back to him, starting off the exchange when Jerry says he's going to surrender to the rebels to attempt to negotiate safety for everyone else from the plane. So that's when Mike Coulter's just like, that's your plan? I thought that was pretty hilarious. Next one, Jerry makes an epic, moving speech before potentially sacrificing himself to save everyone.
Classic.
And then the last one in the list, fuel tank being compromised during an escape, eventually managing to escape, but barely, since their transportation is literally falling apart, but somehow manages to break just beyond the end of the runway.
What are the odds?
Oh my God. But yeah, in addition to all that, I got some more stuff to talk about.
Oh, I have one to add, actually.
What's up?
Is, last week we were talking about the first episode of Hijack, and I was talking about how much I enjoy the setup of characters in a bottle episode type thing where everyone's getting on the train. And we get that here. You get all the different characters getting on the plane.
That's very true. It's like enclosed on the Holo Island or whatever.
Yes, yeah. So I love that, like, corny, well, this guy does this and they have an argument with them. I think it's very adorable.
Oh, yeah. I love that when the rebels first approach the passengers, they pull up in a bunch of pickup trucks, but also a shuttle bus.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
I mean, that literally means they have taken a whole ass shuttle bus of passengers hostage before.
Yeah.
Or they just figured they'd steal one. Or potentially even that they bought one. You know, because the whole hostage taking business, they need a vehicle like that for convenience, right?
And how do they get buses there? I guess they must use a
You can order that stuff. I think there's definitely salespeople out there who are probably agnostic about selling to militia.
Wow. I got to know more about it. It's a real island, by the way. I looked it up.
It's wild.
And there have been issues there. I don't know if it's to this extreme, but kind of intriguing.
In a way, I felt like this movie almost felt like a better version of Rambo 2008.
I never saw it.
If you haven't seen it, it's where Rambo basically retired already as a soldier. All he does is he ferries missionaries to Burma in the movie.
Oh, okay.
But those missionaries get captured by the Burmese army, and Rambo decides to come out of retirement to go in and murder pretty much the entire army to save them.
Oh, my God. Of course.
But in Plane, Jerry doesn't need to kill everyone to save passengers. He just needed to team up with Soldier of Misfortune, Mike Coulter, and work up a sweat fighting a bunch of rebels to make it happen.
Oh, man.
On a more serious note, for me, movies like this support the idea that there's a place in need for theatrical B movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly think this movie is too good to keep as a streaming movie.
Yeah.
But it's obviously also not Oscar worthy or anything like that. It's just a fun, exciting movie that even made you feel something for the characters.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to say was, I know there's some rumors that there's going to be a sequel to this movie called Ship. And I honestly hope it ends up being made and that both Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter both return somehow. Maybe Jerry could be on vacation on a cruise ship with his family. And then it happens to just be the same one that Mike Coulter decides to be on after making a life for himself after everything that went down on Jolo Island. So
I would love that. And plus, we haven't really learned Mike Coulter's
I mean, we know that he was, what is it, French Foreign Legionnaire? Or
yeah, French Foreign Legion.
Yeah.
But we don't know the details of who he murdered. I like to think he was framed, but then again, he does murder a lot of people. So
yeah, I think he's pretty cool. He's pretty lax about it, too, because he was like, I don't know if you remember the first interaction where the two of them had to deal with rebels together. Gerard chooses to choke his out, but Mike Coulter just like stabs.
Yeah.
And then stabs Gerard's from.
I like when he murders guys with a mallet. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my
not a mallet. It's what is it? A sledgehammer.
Oh, my God. Even better. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah. Ratings. Oh, God.
Ratings. Oh, my God. Okay.
Enjoyment. 4.5.
Oh, shit.
Quality. 3.5.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's everything. It was way above expectation. I seriously was one of those people who thought this was just going to be another action thriller, like a throwaway, especially because it was in January. And like, I don't know. I remember there wasn't like that much press about it.
No.
And then the press that did happen was more like, are you serious? Is this a real movie? And
it was all about
because
the
it
name.
seemed more jokey than it actually. It ended up being kind of serious. I mean, yeah, but it seemed a lot more jokey in its like presentation or like people talking about it. But yeah, the quality wasn't amazing or anything. It's pretty good. I mean, you know, they couldn't show anything super cool like the part where the dude gets his gets run over by the plane. They didn't really show anything graphic in that situation.
Yeah.
They could have.
I love it. So for my rating, I'm giving it a 4, man. I remember liking it when we saw it, but on rewatch, I liked it even more. I think it's super solid.
Yeah.
And again, you know what? Great, charming actors and fun violence makes any B movie better. And that's what you got here. So
yeah.
loved it. And for quality, I'm giving it a 3.5. It is not a perfect movie or anything, but it uses a lot of tropes, but it uses them so beautifully.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Plane. All right, party people. Night Patrol. Party people.
That's
Are you
my
party
thing.
people?
You can't say that.
All right, friends. So Night Patrol is a genre thriller, which is directed by Ryan, I believe it's pronounced Prowse, who
Okay.
previously made Lowlife and worked on a segment in VHS 94. So this movie is about an LA cop who discovers that a local task force is hiding a secret that puts residents of his childhood neighborhood in danger. And basically, what starts out as a corruption investigation turns into something a lot darker when we realize that they aren't just abusing power, they're also hiding a literal supernatural secret tied to vampire mythology.
Damn,
So,
yeah.
corrupt cops and vampires, count me in. This film stars Jermaine Fowler, Justin Long, R.J. Kyler, Dermot Mulrooney, Freddie Gibbs, and CM Punk, and blends crime drama with horror in a very deliberate way.
Phil Brooks.
What did I say?
CM Punk.
Oh, yeah. Acting CM Punk is
Same
Phil Brooks.
person.
Yeah. This doesn't look like a Phil to me,
He
man.
was credited as Phil Brooks.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Whatever.
full confession, this relates to Phil Brooks. I was initially excited about this movie because of two of the cast members, the current WWE World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, and the very awesome and funny rapper, Freddie Gibbs. We saw the trailer and I just immediately was like, vampire cops? Yes. CM Punk? Yes. Freddie Gibbs? Yes, yes, yes. So, I was expecting something wild with a fun cast, and that's pretty much what I got. At its core, Night Patrol is a low-budget horror crime movie, and it's about this elite group of cops who operate at night and turn out to be literal monsters. And I really like that it leans super hard into genre, gore, and chaos. And, it's very upfront about the kind of movie it wants to be. Is it high art? No, but I would say it definitely met, maybe even exceeded my expectations. I really liked the look of Night Patrol. You can tell it's low budget, definitely, but it does some interesting things within those limitations. I think the film grain is noticeably heavy, which immediately reminded me of 70s crime and horror films, which kind of helps set the tone. The daytime scenes are really stark and overlit. The nighttime scenes kind of lean into the mystery with these really harsh street lights, cop car LEDs. And the gore is practical and I think it looks great. Overall, my favorite of the choices in terms of the visuals was there's a large fight scene that takes place, I don't know, about 2/3 of the way through. And what they do is it's a scene which would involve mass carnage. And as a way, I'm guessing, to keep the budget low and the ratings in check, they make it look almost like night vision. So it's sort of blurred out. And I thought that was a really creative choice. Performance-wise, I think Jermaine Fowler is Xavier, R.J. Kyler is Wazi, and Nikki Michaud is Ayanda. They are really strong. I think all of them were funny. They were good at being grounded in such a wild movie. And yeah, they were really bought into the unhinged stuff in a way that seemed real. Now, in terms of performance, Justin Long has some really insane moments that I enjoy. He had some great comedic moments, but also it was kind of cool to see him play a character that's much more like a normal kind of scummy guy. Like his voice sounds different. The way he walks is different than you're used to. And Phil Brooks works pretty well as a bad cop, which did not surprise me because his WWE promos are I think they're some of the most grounded out there. I often will watch him do one. I'll be like, damn, he should be in movies. And hey, here he is.
Yeah.
And as far as Freddie Gibbs, okay. So I love Freddie Gibbs. And I think he's great in this. Now, the caveat is there's a certain scene where he has to react to the
All right.
the death of another character.
Yeah.
And to say he underplayed it is like
Probably.
an understatement. But he's really funny as this quirky, mythology obsessed gang leader. He has some of the biggest laughs in the movie, and I really enjoyed it. As far as plot, okay, it's a little confusing, not because, like, it's not that it's hard to follow. It's just, it wasn't always clear who the main protagonist is.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It just sort of wasn't entirely clear to me, and it felt a little disorganized. But, it's not a deal breaker for me. I mean, ultimately, I think the characters and the craziness are what I was looking for here, and I think that's what they delivered. So, yeah, I quite enjoyed it. What'd you think, Sush?
Well, dude, this is on my list of movies that I've been looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk as a dirty vampire cop. Justin Long doing his whole, I'm Justin Long and I've never done anything bad, but I want to. Can you teach me vibe? And then the whole gang versus police warfare, which I love in movies, but probably not so much in real life.
Yeah.
But yeah, while I was hoping for an overall more enjoyable, higher quality film than I got, I still had a great time. But admittedly, the movie felt different than the vibe I got from the trailer.
Oh, okay.
And I think, honestly, that aspect of getting something different than what I expected was what kind of affected my review of this movie the most, I think, for better or worse. Well, I will say this says a lot about the trailer. So, whoever cut that thing did a great job and probably needs to get hired to produce more trailers, especially for lower budget or indie films, because I didn't feel like this was as low budget as it ended up actually being. The vibe of the movie was a bit more humorous and I'd say campy than I expected. Even though most of the night scenes literally remind me of the end of Training Day when they're in that new neighborhood. I think what we saw in the trailer definitely is a part of the overall movie, but I feel like the trailer is trying to convey more of an action thriller side to the movie. But there's actually a pretty considerable supernatural or spiritual angle to the movie that I wasn't expecting to go as deep as it did. I don't think it spoils the movie in any way to say that there's elements of Zulu mysticism in it. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's just an example of like how far it goes. So
it's not just your vampire mysticism.
Exactly. So in researching the movie, actually, I realized that pretty much I've never seen anything this director has done. And I only recognize like VHS 94 when it comes to the movies he's known for. So I guess I give him credit for delivering something that isn't perfect, but still pretty damn good for as low budget and like minimal marketing as the movie had. As far as the talent goes, I thought Freddie Gibbs was hilarious as Bornelius.
He was so funny, yeah.
And Nikki Michaud was great playing the mom character.
She was out of control, yeah.
For like some of the lead characters, yeah. CM Punk didn't have a ton of dialogue, but I thought his character definitely played to his strengths. I thought Dermot Mulroney, not Dylan McDermott.
Oh, okay.
Was probably the biggest contributor towards the camp in this movie. And I actually thought Jermaine Fowler was a better lead than Justin Long.
I did too. I thought he was great.
Besides that, the trailer is a bit misleading in that Jermaine Fowler's character could arguably even be like a larger role than Justin Long in this movie. And I really wanted to like Justin Long's character more, especially with how he was portrayed in the trailer. But I think he ended up being kind of a mess, both physically and also regarding how the character was written.
Yeah, I can
like,
see
to me,
that.
it almost felt like they changed the direction of the character to kind of support some of the themes that they covered in the movie. And then with that said, too, like, This movie also was a lot more thematic than I was expecting it to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's the obvious angle about police and their poor reputation working together with Black communities.
Mm-hmm.
But when you actually see the movie, you're definitely faced with other themes that are relevant regarding race and society through both the plot and some of the character experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that a funny movie can also deliver good messaging, but I feel like the campiness of this movie, intended or unintended, kind of worked against the seriousness of some of those themes.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, and overall, I think it was a pretty enjoyable, low-budget movie, which has a few notable names, even if they're certainly not A-list actors. I'd like to see more from Ryan Prowse in the future, since I definitely feel like the overall increase in horror movies at the box office is a good opportunity for some lesser-known writers or directors to get some cross-genre movies like this one in front of audiences.
Mm-hmm.
I think that also helps more moviegoers to be open to horror movies too. Because, I mean, this is basically what happened to us with horror thrillers. You know, eventually that led us to just being more open to, just straight up horror movies. So I'm going into my rating for enjoyment. I gave this a 3.5. I thought I would enjoy this more, but I do give it credit for being more deep than I thought it would be to begin with. And then for quality, I give it a 2.5. Definitely could have used an infusion of more funding. I don't know if I felt like a lot of the shots were that great. I mean, you could tell that they didn't have a great budget for it and they did what they could with it. But where other movies, I think they kind of lean into it, this movie doesn't. I think they just do what they can with it. So it's not like the same feeling as like a movie that's intentionally trying to be low budget. This one probably would have done better with more money. So I gave it 2.5 in the quality department.
Okay. That's interesting to hear what you say about the, the look of it and stuff, because I thought they did great with the look, but I think a lot of that is because I went in understanding that it had a really low budget.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of what I see and enjoyed in it was like, I thought to myself, even watching the movie, oh, what a creative way to work around a budget,
I think that's also though why I enjoyed it more than I would if this had a higher budget, but then they, they delivered what they did.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like 2.5 on quality is that bad either. I think given what they have, they achieved a lot.
Definitely.
Especially for one that seems like a first time foray into something like this. The other movies that he's done seems to be straightforward horror. So
yeah. Cool. So getting into my score here, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I gave it a 3.5.
Cool.
And for quality, I gave it a 3. I try to judge movies for what they are, what their budget is, what the genre is, rather than sort of like a full objectivist thing.
Right, sure.
But I think it's a good job for a wacky, low budget movie for sure. And hopefully we can see more movies with Phil Brooks and Freddie Gibbs, because, hey, I like those guys branching out. I think they did great. CM Punk. Oh, I'm really bad at singing instrumentals vocally.
That's okay.
But you get the point.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Bone Temple Pilots. All right. Okay, so 28 years later, The Bone Temple is the second film in the new 28 Years Later trilogy and the latest chapter in the 28 Days Later franchise. So this one's directed by Nia DaCosta, who previously made Candyman and The Marvels, and was written by Alex Garland, who also wrote the original 28 Days Later, then went on to make Ex Machina, Annihilation, etc., etc. The large cast includes Ralph Fiennes, Alfie Williams, Jack O'Connell, and G. Lewis Perry, and it's set decades after the rage virus outbreak. So the film shifts away from the immediate survival and focuses on the strange new societies and belief systems that have formed in a world that's living with the virus for almost 30 years, which is crazy. So getting into the movie, the first thing that I think is important for people to know is this movie goes pretty hard on gore and disturbing violence. Yes, there's expected zombie grossness in a movie like this, but most of the upsetting material, at least for me, came from the uninfected gang known as the Jimmies. And yeah, I mean, their cruelty is shocking. And honestly, I found it pretty hard to watch. And I'm normally pretty okay with gore, but it's not just what we see on screen, it's the intent behind it that's kind of disturbing. So if you're squeamish, this might not be the film for you. Structurally, the film follows two parallel storylines. So one focuses on Spike. He's the little kid we met in 28 years later and his initiation into this Jimmy's cult. And then the other is about the returning Dr. Ian Kelson, played by Ray Fiennes, as he forms this like strange relationship with the alpha. Basically, that nude zombie in the last one, the big nude zombie, that's the guy. Yeah, he grows a strange relationship with him and names him Samson. So the film balances these two threads, I think, pretty well and shifts between them. It never feels like a gimmick, like sometimes it does when there's separate stories that come together. That being said, you know this, we already talked about it a little bit, but I strongly preferred Dr. Kelson's storyline. So his arc, it explores something that I think is genuinely new within both this zombie universe and also just zombie media at large.
Blackmail?
Yeah. But yeah, what I think is so interesting about his character, and again, this is almost 30 years later, is he's found meaning in the apocalypse. Like he's creating routine. He has purpose. He's building the bone temple to honor the dead. He's researching medicine. He's spending quiet time in his bunker, listening to music and reminiscing. And that's kind of a part of the zombie apocalypse that we don't normally see.
Yeah.
Most stories are focusing on chaos and survival, but here we're watching someone who's, I mean, essentially moved up a notch or two on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know, he's got safety relatively. He's got routine. He's found meaning in his life. Yeah. And having those things allows him to approach the world with a bit more curiosity rather than the panic that you normally see in zombie movies.
Yeah, he's not doing bad for the zombie apocalypse.
He's not. It's really cool.
He's making art.
He is. Absolutely.
He's making art, paying tribute to the fallen, you know, doing all sorts of good stuff. But
yeah, if he wrote a self-help book, I would read it because he seems to have stuff figured out. But, you know, by contrast, I found the Jimmy's storyline felt a lot more familiar. So I think it's a story we've seen before about vulnerable survivors being pulled into the orbit of a violent tyrant. I immediately thought of this long list of Walking Dead bad guys. From the governor to the cannibals of Terminus to Negan and so on and so on. So where that storyline in general, I feel a little bit over. But I think where it is interesting, in addition to the performances, which are all stellar across the board in this movie, is the details. So as Spike starts to understand what the individual Jimmies have different that sets them apart, and also how they view their relationship with the cult and its leader. Visually, I think the film's gorgeous. I think the cinematography is cool. Like in the last movie, they use a different look, different feel for different parts of the story. I, in particular, thought it was cool when we see a zombie's eye view. We get to see what Samson is viewing. That was like fascinating and eye-opening and totally new to this universe. And it's hard to talk about without spoilers, but there is a moment where the two major storylines converge that becomes this big spectacle, and it looked amazing. That whole set piece, that whole scene is fantastic.
Yeah.
So you'll know it when you see it. And then one of the biggest surprises to me was how much there's music. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's a lot of Duran Duran, which I love, and early Duran Duran. So watching Dr. Kelson live his life in a bunker with he has a hand cranked record player. He's singing, he's dancing. I mean, that felt kind of radical for a zombie movie. We almost never see music used this way in the genre, but it makes sense. If there was an apocalypse, people would need to comfort themselves, you know? And I think music, in addition to being something people use for storytelling, when you think back to the origin of folk music, also it's a way to deal with trauma. I mean, I do it. If I have a bad day, I'm going to listen to a song that's going to cheer me up, or I'm going to sing to myself. And seeing that in this movie, that makes sense. That's how I think people really would cope with the world. And seeing him dance was also very cute. He does some dancing. So I guess that brings me to performances. Everyone's great, like everyone. Obviously, Ralph Fiennes is amazing. And I really, really liked the actor who plays Samson, who's the alpha zombie.
Oh, yeah.
So his role in the previous movie, that is, was all about his physical presence. But let's face it, if you remember him, you just remember him being the very nude, very large, ominous zombie. But in this one, there's all these subtle things he's doing. It's more emotional, but in a way that's still dialed back, in a way that makes sense to someone having a rage virus. And I just think it was really great. I actually did a little bit of reading up on him. This guy has a background in MMA and also in stunt work.
Cool.
And that makes a lot of sense because I think that people in stunts and athletics, there's a certain physical acting that I think people overlooks the importance of sometimes, but you can really see here how moving it can be. And so really thought he was great. Another highlight, I think, is how it sets up the next movie in the series. So we don't really get into spoilers, so I can't tell you. But the reveals near the end were really exciting and something that I'm super duper looking forward to in the next movie. I really enjoyed the movie. I would say if I rewatch it, I'm probably going to fast forward through the jimmies, but I think there's a lot of strong work here. I think this is a bit to do with just that general people are the real monsters fatigue that I'm having right now, just because I've seen a lot of stories like that. And in the current political climate, there's a lot of that going on. So it's less a criticism of the film itself than kind of a reflection, I guess, of where I'm at as a viewer. But yeah, overall, I quite enjoyed it. What do you think, Sush?
Well, before I get into talking about the movie specifically, I just want to say I think this 28 years later part of the larger 28 Days Later series is a good opportunity to highlight one of the reasons why we decided to start making movie review content, which is that we just felt like a lot of movie reviewers and critics, especially ones that we'd consider professionals, typically assess movies on a fairly qualitative basis, which we felt leaned more towards artistic or production aspects of a given film. We basically recognize that as cinephiles, we recognize those aspects of film, but also feel like there's a very separate enjoyment aspect of film that might be affected by not only qualitative factors and other factors that could really be from literally anything, from comparing a movie to another, or just other work the director or writer of it may have worked on, or even a viewer's personal experiences that might tie to it.
I think that's really important.
You know? So looping back around to how 28 years later, this part of the greater 28 Days Later series relates to it, it was definitely one of the movies where I felt we oddly sided with critics and feeling like it was an overall high quality movie. The previous one we definitely did. But honestly, I wasn't sure what to expect after the ending of that one.
Yeah.
During the course of the movie, I realized that shows like The Walking Dead have created this somewhat comforting picture of what life would be like following the events of a zombie apocalypse. But given how the world of 28 days, years later
Mm-hmm.
is set in a world where the rage virus is very much isolated now to a specific part of the world, like this idea of the rest of society moving on and leaving this area of the world to fend for itself is really interesting to me.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciated that the first 28 years later movie definitely started examining those isolated people
Mm-hmm.
and how like the ongoing rage virus infection in their area affects their everyday lives.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the most divisive moment among viewers was obviously the introduction of the Jimmies,
Mm-hmm.
which I felt was just Danny Boyle and Alex Garland trying to show us another group of affected,
Ah.
but understandably, you know, that may have taken others out of the moment and really understandably like changed their opinion of the movie as a whole because of how jarring it really was.
Oh, yeah. My friend Michelle could not stand that last movie because of how things shifted so much, you know?
Yeah.
You didn't know where the ground was.
Right.
It was shifting under your feet.
Mm-hmm. So finally, getting to the Bone Temple specifically,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much that I enjoyed with this movie. Like, there are definitely moments where it was a bit difficult to watch.
Yeah.
But I think it all makes sense in the context of Boyle and Garland wanting to show us more of how these people, the quarantined, I'm going to call them now,
Mm-hmm.
are basically cut off from the rest of human society. And they're
Yeah.
acclimating to this world where the rage virus still exists, though.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really interesting situation because that part has not changed for them,
Mm-hmm.
but they're aware that it's not like that elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this movie really operated heavily in the who is the real evil infected area.
Yeah.
While this theme has been explored somewhat in previous 28 Days series movies, I think that this was actually one of the best aspects of The Walking Dead, even though I know most people ditch that show. But even though this is the case with the Bone Temple, I do think it's balanced well enough with what I'd call the like lore elements of the 28 Day series. So I think that helps the story overall to not become too preachy in its messaging. Because it definitely, you can tell, especially by the end of the movie, that it's really trying to say something
Yeah.
about people and what happens to them when they're put in situations.
Mm-hmm.
With how emotionally heavy certain moments in the Bone Temple was, I enjoyed how much more humor was infused into this movie in comparison to all the other 28 Days films.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that's what I felt watching the movie. There's a lot of parts that are pretty funny.
Yeah.
And at times uncomfortable watch, but overall a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pretty significant discovery during the course of the film that I'm really interested in seeing pan out on the sequel because I don't feel like it's something that's really explored as much and in some ways at all in these infected or zombie movies.
Mm-hmm.
So going into my rating for enjoyment, I give it a 4. Probably my favorite one so far out of the 28 Days series. I didn't give it a higher rating only because I want to give room for the next movie, which I feel like I'll probably feel more satisfaction from just based on where I can see this story going.
Mm-hmm.
And then for quality, I give it a 4. I mean, they use everything they have and it looks great.
Yeah,
Anytime I can kind of check out in a movie and just think that I'm in this believable kind of world. Yeah, that always is a good sign for me.
But don't worry, there's no Jimmys in real life.
Yeah.
As far as we know. Oh, God, there might be.
But funny enough, I did want to say that this movie, contrary to the previous movie we just talked about, was more serious than I expected it was going to be.
Yeah.
But with that said, I really think it was a lot more enjoyable and deep than I expected it to be too. Yeah. Honestly, I can't wait to see how they close this thing out because this movie just makes me feel like the closure for this film series is really going to set it apart from others in its genre.
I agree. Yeah, and they've got such a good creative team every step of the way. So,
yeah.
Cool. Well, getting into my rating. So for enjoyment, I gave it a 3.5.
Oh.
Again, if I were to rate the Rafe Fiennes and Samson portion, I'd give it a 4. But, I did want to balance it out because I was extremely uncomfortable with
Yeah,
some
that's
of the
fine.
Jimmy stuff. And I found myself in my head being like, oh, why'd they write this?
That's why enjoyment is enjoyment, dude.
It is. Exactly. Exactly.
We would have called it something else if that's what,
Also, it's funny that I gave this the same enjoyment score as Night Patrol. Two very different movies.
Exactly.
But for quality, I gave it a 4. I mean, I think it's stellar. I think it looks great. I think the scripting's really good. I think the acting's great. Just a great movie. But again, go and proceed with caution, and you definitely need to watch the first one to know what's going on here at all.
This is,
they
more
just
so
drop
than
you right into it.
a lot of, more so than any of the other movies in the series.
Cool. All right, on to the next one. All right, so let's move on to our next dude.
Chugging on my hijacks. Oh, listen to me. I'm hijacking this train.
He's been doing Idris impressions all week, guys. It's been nonstop, and I love it.
All right. Hijack.
Hijack.
Season 2. Episode 2.
Let's do it.
Control.
Yeah.
Let's kick it off. So Clara Berger, the responder that we met in the last episode, the one that's only started working there 2 weeks ago. She discovers Sam's train is missing from the network, from the map.
Mm-hmm.
Sam answers the radio and announces he's hijacking the train with over 200 passengers, demanding urgent action from Control. Sam then instructs Clara to contact the police to find John Bailey Brown, stressing the safety of the passengers. Deputy Police Chief Murnau interrupts Chief Ada Winter's daughter's band recital, stressing the urgency of the situation. Then him and Ada head to the network control center. Meanwhile, Olivia Thatcher and Arnold Goth wait at the British Embassy, but Goth dismisses Sam's concerns and leaves because Sam doesn't show up. Control, aided by police, begin evacuating train stations during rush hour. The police chief finally arrives at the network control center to oversee the hostage situation. On the train, Sam directs Otto to keep the passengers uninformed. As he heads to reset the emergency brake alarm, passengers notice that Otto has a head injury when he goes to do that. It causes some passengers to become suspicious. The authorities try to locate the hostage train in the complex network. Facing technical and logistical challenges, they decide to buy time by halting all the trains and giving Sam a bullshit excuse that a train in front of them is stopped and they need time to figure out what's causing it. Sam and Otto navigate the suspicions and technical issues while Sam continues to pressure officials for his demands, threatening consequences if they aren't met. GSG-9, German counter-terrorist unit, attempts to approach the train and save the hostages. Eventually, Sam is forced to have one of the passengers carry a stainless steel briefcase, the one that he had in the last episode, off the train to a nearby train platform, implying that there's a bomb in the case. But unfortunately, Otto's concerned co-worker from the last episode, the lady who was pestering him, coincidentally appears on the platform to perform evacuation checks, which puts her in the middle of everything. So the episode reaches a tipping point as GSG-9 approaches, and Ada makes a last-ditch effort to plead with Sam, asking his name. Olivia happens to be in the office while this happens, so she immediately steps forward, informing her that his name's Sam Nelson. Sam's caught off guard by Ada referring to him by his name as GSG-9 runs in to pull Otto's co-worker to safety, and Ada continues to attempt to reach Sam. We see Sam flicking a lighter he pulled off of Impatient Guy, the guy who he sent the briefcase out with, then gets on the radio and begins a 45-second countdown. At the end of the countdown, all the CCTV monitors cut off, leaving everyone to fear for the worst. And that ends the episode. There's some other notes that I have. During the course of the episode, we also get a brief moment with Sam's wife, Marcia. when she makes a call to her boyfriend, D.I. Daniel O'Farrell from the first season, asking about the flowers she received. She found it strange that they were addressed to Marcia Smith and not Smith Nelson. Daniel asked if it was Sam, but Marcia tells him that, she hasn't spoken with Sam in months. Daniel actually believes that might just be the reason why Sam sent them to her. And then we also get a few more details regarding Sam's involvement in everything that he hasn't revealed in the course of the hijacking so far. In this episode, we get a scene where we return to the ongoing investigation at Mobile Olfe, the gay bar that the SWAT team raided, and also the detective Zoran Beck from the previous episode. He's still there. One of the evidence technicians hands him a cell phone, which he redials the last number on. It ends up calling a phone that's been left in a hotel room. There's a housekeeping person that's taking care of it. She opens a drawer and sees the phone there. We see the caller ID shows that Marco, the duffel bag guy, Otto's contact from the last episode, that's the phone that they found. But then surprisingly, once the call hangs up, we see the background of the cell phone, and it's got a picture of Marcia, Sam's wife, with Kai, their son. So they reveal that the phone is Sam's. So somehow he was connected to Marco.
Man.
Yeah. What'd you think about this episode?
I have mixed feelings. Now, what I loved about it was how cool it was to see Sam sort of cooking, to see how he is so incredibly observant. He's doing like real hijack problem solving because, hey, he's an expert on it. He really is. He's really good at managing the pressure of everything. He's able to stay calm. So here's some things he does, like when they come across obstacles. First, the conductor has to go into the passenger car to reset something. And this guy is not confident, man.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to trust him to interface with the public. So he's out there. They start giving him all these questions. And Sam just appears and is like, oh, here's that thing I was looking for so I could help you with your wound on your head.
Right.
And distracts everyone. And they go back in like, okay. Then when the biker guy, who you were calling, I think, impatient guy, when he goes to knock on the driver's cabin, what do you call that? I don't know.
I don't know. I called it a conductor's booth.
Oh, booth. Yeah, that's good. So then when he goes up there, he immediately sees an obstacle of this guy and uses him as a way to buy time. He's like, you know what? We've got this train in front of us. They're blocked in at the time. And he's like, yes, this guy came in and is trying to confront us. But hey, I can use him to go out with a bomb. And that was a way to manipulate the situation. Right. Then he's very observant, too. He notices that there's a door in the train tunnel and finds out that it's a switch room that controls. You can see all of the TV monitors looking at security footage. So that's incredibly useful, as well as different switches that control things for the train.
Right.
Then he does the final thing, which I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming since we don't see Otto in the train car at the end when he's talking to the controllers, I think that he has Otto in that switch room turning off all the cameras to make it look like he set off a bomb. So that is all the really cool stuff. Now, my negative thing is I'm just greedy for information here. I really am ready for the plot to say, I want it to move fast, man. I want to know about his wife or ex-wife. I can't remember if they're divorced. I want to know why she is there, what the anniversary is that she's celebrating. I can't recall from the first season if he had a child that died, but the way she said in that first episode that it was an anniversary, it didn't seem like a happy anniversary. I want to know where the son is.
Yeah.
I want to know when her boyfriend, Daniel the cop, is going to get involved.
Oh, damn. You know what?
What?
What if, and I'm sure somebody's thought about this by now.
Yeah.
In the 2 years that have passed, that group finds their son
Ah.
and kills him or something.
It could be.
And basically just says, I'm going to kill your wife next if you don't do this hijacking for us to make up for the one that you foiled.
I could see it, man.
Yeah, because we haven't seen the kid yet.
Yeah.
We know he exists. We know they have a child together. We know because of the son from the last season. We see Sam's phone has a picture of them.
Yeah.
She's not with him, though.
Right.
Doesn't mention the kid. Like, you would think that if he existed still, she would at least be like, how is so-and-so?
Yeah,
especially
they haven't even
because she still has the
mentioned him.
cop boyfriend. You'd think he'd be able to like check in on him wherever the son might be.
I know.
The only other thing that I could think, based on the one moment that we have, actually, that I didn't mention in the plot summary, is when she returns to the cabin because she's out and making this phone call to her boyfriend. She notices that the door is left open.
Yeah.
So I'm almost thinking there's also a possibility that he's alive, but with her. And that's kind of like a misdirect. So we think somebody's following her, but in fact, she's just there with him. Because that also works to the effect of not talking about him, too.
Yeah. I know. I mean, there's so much. And also just what's Toby Jones's deal? Because he's just cracking train jokes all the time and not being very helpful.
Yeah.
I want to know.
I think one part of it is that obviously he's British intelligence or whatever from the British government. And it's almost like I feel like in this instance, because there are British people involved in this, especially the person who is now the suspect, they have to call in the British government to be involved with it. But like he was saying, it's her jurisdiction. So he's just really there to support. But I have a feeling that obviously that's going to change as they find out more about what's happening.
Right.
I have a feeling it might be something where people are going to find out that they had something to do with why this ended up happening.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't act in time.
Yeah.
Because going back to how Sam has been trying to get through to these people at the British embassy and they don't listen to him, you know?
Yeah.
Could just be an instance like that where they just refuse to like,
But it's just, there's a lot of players on the board. And in this last episode, I feel like they gave each of them like a line or two.
Yeah.
But I really am, if the next episode is kind of slow, I'm going to be very frustrated because I'm ready for things to start going. And I know I must have said it last week, but he would be so famous for being a hostage negotiator who helped safely land a hijacked plane. He would be Sully Sullenberg. And the fact that people don't know who he is at all or are dismissive of him, that is weird. So I hope the story addresses that at least.
Yeah.
Because he should be a hero, man. Like what the fuck? Like you don't get to be anonymous after doing something like that. So those are my criticisms. But you know, overall, I mean, good tension. I think there's smart character work. I do think the momentum was kind of lagging a bit, but I'm still excited to see what comes next.
Yeah, I think it's an 8-season Apple TV show that's almost an hour an episode. I think we got time for stuff, you know. The last season, I think, was one episode shorter.
Oh, okay.
And they managed to eke out what they did. So I wouldn't be, I don't think it's above them to do it. But yeah, I got some things to say.
All right, let's hear it.
Before I give my thoughts on this week's episode, I just want to thank you, Ashley, for all the great work that you've done with our movie and TV show plot synopses. If you, the listeners, are not aware, she actually works on all that stuff and somehow still manages to balance a real job, unlike myself.
Well, gosh, thank you.
But yeah, this season of Hijack is the first time I've written them.
Uh-huh.
So knowing that we both care about like the same details and level of details when it comes to this stuff, I'm really realizing how time consuming it is to write truly detailed synopses that follow the movie or episode's exact sequence of events. First taking detailed notes in an attempt to not miss anything, but then figuring out how to pare everything down so we don't have to make you sit here for
Right. We don't want to take
the same
longer
length
than
of
the episode.
Yeah. So yeah, big thanks to you.
Aw.
So with the end of that last episode, I was really wondering how they would make this work this time around, but it's easy to put together, especially after seeing this episode, that Sam is obviously being coerced.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow, I don't know if this is just because I'm writing the plot synopsis for the show now, but I realize that the show integrates the supporting cast really well in terms of having them lend significantly to the plot. Like, an example of this, there's a few of them actually in this episode alone. We have the students who are dealing with one of their own, George, being scared of trains and pulling that emergency brake alarm, which obviously affects the time that it's taking for Sam to get the train to wherever he's trying to get it to. Then impatient guy, the guy who with the bike.
He does some great acting.
Yeah, he complicates an already complicated situation by overhearing the radio conversation that Sam and Otto are having with Control. I'm sure there's more, but I've definitely seen shows where the supporting cast is utilized well, but I think this is a notable exception where they actually affect and have an involvement in the plot. So I thought that was pretty cool. I know that we established that Sam is a business negotiator and one that has a very particular set of skills, as you would say in like the Taken verse,
right?
Or at least like extreme attention to detail. But it seems like there might be some dirt on him. Like,
wondering,
like you mentioned, this guy should be a hero,
right?
He foiled a terrorist hijacking of a plane, but something has obviously either happened in the 2 years since that event, or maybe even before, but we were never told about it. That probably plays into why Sam is not only being forced to do this against his will, but why the authorities apparently don't take him seriously.
Yeah.
So that I think is the part that I want to find out. That's what I'm most eager to learn about. Like the hijacking is fine. Like this time around, I think it's going to be cool. But I think overall for me, I'm more interested in finding out more about him as a person. Like why still? Like, why do you have the skill set to be a business negotiator?
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting episode. I'm excited to see what comes next. I love the title. Like plane, it gets right to the point. Hijack. So I guess join us next week for the next episode of Hijack. And moving on. Next week, we're going to be checking out Mercy and Send Help. Then our Gerry-tivities will sadly be drawing to a close next week, but we'll be sending Gerard off in style with a discussion of another Gerry classic and a fun little activity. And then for TV, we're going to be going back to Spartacus House of Ashur if the episode comes out on time. Fingers crossed. And again, another episode of Hijack.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much for listening, guys. We appreciate you tuning in and checking out our podcasts.
And if you would be so kind, we'd love it if you would subscribe to the pod. You can rate us on your podcast platform and maybe a little review. And you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as We Should Watch That. So thank you again. We hope you're having a fantastic week and watching lots of fun movies and TV. And we'll see you next time.
Second, Ezra.
Bye.
Bye.
Laughter in the air, friendships touch. Movies and delights, we'll share so much.
Let's enjoy this side.